are rolling. This is it. This is episode 334 of No Laugh Track Podcast. We're here at Acme because it's Acme's podcast. Why would we do it anyplace else? I'm Justin Severson. I'm here with Jay, Elvis, Josh, Weinstein. It is his first appearance, so everybody be very nice to him on this podcast.
What should I do? Oh, I hope he's heard of me.
Welcome back, sir. It's been since November. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's a long stretch for me to go no laugh trackless.
I bring a notebook, my little cheat sheet that I work on before.
I like that about you.
Yeah, thank you. And I have notebooks, going back over 5 years or whatever it is now. They take about a year to go through.
Yeah.
But so normally people aren't in it twice, but you're in here twice. You're in the front of the book here from back in November with Chris Bliss. And he's been back just 2 weeks ago.
Right.
3 weeks ago,
right.
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Not that long ago. Episode 332. He was here. He did a really good job mentioning your shows this week.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Chris is one of my big boosters, has been for some years.
Yeah, I mean, he did. In fact, you'll love this. He not only did he mention it at the beginning of the podcast we did together, but then at the end,
nice.
He was treating it as if it was some sort of radio show. Well, maybe people just tuned in to the last 10 minutes here, and we better mention it again.
Very nice.
So, as you know, he's a big.
I have good friends.
Mm-hmm. So here we are. It is Thursday, and you have been talking about it on your podcast. You've been mentioning it on social media that you were going to record an album this week.
Yes,
Acme.
indeed.
And we've had one night down.
One night down. I was hoping I could get some really inclement weather. For my taping nights. And
congratulations.
It's worked out very well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's, I did the first one last night, I'm doing another one tonight.
So you were, let's go. You were here Thursday? You did shows Thursday? Pardon me, Tuesday.
I was here yeah.
Did not record
Tuesday.
Just wanted to get your legs Tuesday night.
Exactly.
Okay.
Last night, I recorded. Probably still could have gotten my legs even more, but it was fine. It was, sort of a weathery crowd. Mm-hmm. They weren't hyped up. But they were listening and responsive, and there was some problem people. So we'll see.
I was here. It wasn't me.
We'll see what we get tonight. I think I'm going to record tomorrow night as well, just for safety. But the comedy was solid. It was solid.
Damn right it was. Be even better tonight and better the next night. Why now? Is the most I think is the best question I could ask about. Why not 6 months ago? Why not wait another year? Why not?
It was 6 months ago. Last time I was in town was when I decided I wanted to do it. So I thought I might end up doing some TV writing this year, which would have started, kind of Mayish.
Okay.
So I wanted to book something safe. So I picked April.
Okay. Oh, okay. Writing job start in May?
That's when the staffing kind of happens.
For the fall TV.
Yeah. This 6 months later, the landscape is different, and I'm probably not going to do that.
Okay.
But that was why I chose April, specifically why I chose 32 years after my career began. That's a whole different thing. No, it's really just the last, half dozen years I've been more serious about stand-up again. And I got to the point where it's like, all right, I've got this act now that I like the material, but I'm plenty tired of it now.
Okay.
And that's what comics do, is you do an album or a special and then move on to the next set. And that's kind of what I'm ready to do now.
Yeah. So you will officially retire?
I mean, I don't think...
Not your career, these jokes.
I mean, that's the goal. I mean, there'll be a transition period, I'm sure, you know. And I'll have some lag time before the album actually comes out too, but it's not like I have such a giant fan base and, who knows my material inside out. So I'm not... It's more of a creative choice than a business choice.
Was there ever any... were you ever going to record it any place other than here?
No, it never occurred to me to, no.
Right. I looked up the I mean, I don't want to spend more than just a few seconds on this, but it's the second year in a row, at least that I know of, that in April we've got this crazy snowstorm in Minnesota.
Yes, and I was here for both.
Yeah.
I was here for Crash and Burn last year in April.
Oh, that's
yes.
right. That's right. What the? Somebody on the news last night said.
So it's 3 appearances in a year, by the way.
Within 12 months.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, you're not. That's not in this notebook. That's in a previous notebook. However, you're right. It is 3 times. A woman with the Belinda Jensen on the news last night on Care 11 was making a thing saying something about all the snow in April, and she said First Avenue apparently put out a tweet yesterday that had they showed those stars on the outside of the building, and it was playing this Prince song that has a lyric about snow in April.
Right.
And she said that since he's died, we've had snow every April.
Ooh, that's twice.
And I for about a half a second I was like, I'm gonna freaking search that and see if she's telling the truth. Like, why would I remember if 4 years ago we had snow in April, or 3 years ago, or 6 years ago? She could just be making that up. I haven't searched, but I did look up the average high temperature for today, April 11th in Minnesota.
Yeah,
and it's like 56.
Well, that's not as good as we don't have what is good as that, is I guess what I meant to say.
Nope, not at all.
But I'm so glad we got to talk about weather. What? Sorry.
Hey. The snore effect is in full effect there.
The thought spiral snore.
Yes. Let's get into that. Congratulations on episode 100.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We're very proud and surprised that we made it that far.
Now, it came out earlier this week. You recorded it over a week ago now, right?
Yes.
So was 101 been recorded?
101 has been recorded. I have to edit it yet.
Okay.
But that'll come out Monday.
Oh.
Every damn Monday.
Damn right.
Haven't missed one.
You haven't, have you?
I have not missed a week. I got one piece of advice from Segura when I started doing the podcast. He goes, don't miss a week.
Yeah.
And I took it.
You lost a few episodes, just like I have.
We have lost a couple
technical difficulties.
Yes.
Two
of them were my fault, probably. One of them was just pure tech breakdownage.
Okay. Yeah, we've had that problem. It's just like technology didn't want to cooperate.
Very frustrating.
Could Julian Assange find those lost episodes?
I don't think so.
No?
No.
Okay. Okay. I was thinking when I came last night that I was going to see Joel Madison.
Yes, my friend Joel Madison he was initially going to be with me the whole week, then he had a thing happen, so now he's coming in tonight. Going to be with me Thursday through Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, he'll be doing the shows.
Yeah.
And for people that don't remember who that is, Joel is
one of the sort of founding fathers of the Twin Cities comedy scene. He was one of the original Minneapolis comedy all-stars with Louis Anderson and Jeff Cesario and Alex Cole at the Dudley Riggs Theater.
Yeah.
In the early 80s. And he was also sort of one of the first generation to leave Minnesota to go to L.A., and he became a Roseanne writer and had a long TV writing career. Yeah. Several jobs along the way with me, and one of my best buddies. So why not bring him along?
Damn right. You've done it before. Why not do it again?
Yeah, and he sort of dips his toe in stand-up these days. So,
which was something that could be said about you a few years ago.
Kind of, yeah. Pretty much. I mean, I always had my Acme week, and then some years that would kind of be my only week.
Yeah.
And then some years I've been a little more roadie.
So what do you what's on the schedule for you as far as stand up in the future here? You're recording this week.
I don't have a lot coming up. I'm gonna start really booking stuff for the fall probably.
It's like a teacher, you take the summers off.
Well, I just I don't have that wide a base of clubs to play, so there's a few that I'm just sort of targeting because I'm still in sort of kind of only want to do good gig mode because I don't it's never going to be my only thing. Stand-up is never,
Okay.
For many reasons. One, because I don't have, like I said, a base of clubs to make a living enough to do that many weeks on the road.
Sure.
I don't have the constitution to do that many weeks on the road anymore. I don't, I really like working with friends. That's the best situation for me, whatever it is. Or if I'm headlining like this week or week before last, I was out opening for Tom Segura on the road. And that's just more fun for me. I know that's, sort of a pussy way to approach it, but, I did the road life very early on in my life and career. I started when I was 15.
Right.
So, the year before I moved out to LA when I was 20, I did 40 weeks on the road, just to save money. And it's just it's not a good life. And it's not, because I've been a writer and director and done all this other stuff, it's like a stand-up set just isn't enough work for a day.
Oh, I see.
For me anymore.
Uh-huh.
So I get really frustrated in that sort of pacing, killing the day, trying to save your energy for the show at night.
What do you do when you're not feeling it? You're like,
when I'm not
I don't want it to be today.
I know, I'm still a pro. I do the show, and I never. Once I'm on stage, I'm never like, why am I here? Unless it's a horrible show or something. But yeah, no, there are days where it's not my natural rhythm anymore.
I've done this will be 334 episodes of this plus the lost ones, and I don't think there's a Thursday where I don't wake up and I'm like, this is the highlight, like career-wise, business-wise, work-wise, this is the highlight of my week every week. Yeah. Thursday morning I wake up and I have a little pit on my stomach. I'm like, ooh.
Dread or
not dread, but
nervousness?
Like nervousness. Like, here we go. I got to make this good.
Yeah.
I want to make this good. Every week, and it doesn't change.
Well, that's probably a good thing, because you make it good then, You actually have a notebook full of questions and things to talk about as opposed to
in
just
theory.
I'm winging it, like we do with Thought Spiral. But I still love doing this, and I still, being a comic is still like my core identity. But after 32 years, it's my life is this. I'm a sort of showbiz general practitioner now.
Oh yeah.
And I like that, and that's kind of the thing that makes my life exciting. And it's the thing that allows for surprises. Like I just co-starred in a movie, and it's like. That to me is very life affirming. Just that can happen, that I'm living the kind of life where that sort of thing can drop in, and I can be open and willing enough to go, yeah, I'll do it.
Right.
So I think if anything about my career I'm proud of the most, it's that. It's just that I've done so much shit.
Sure.
And I don't have any real desire to stop that. It's always going to be, what's the thing that excites me that I can just dive into and wear for a while.
Sure. Yeah, I'm impressed by how many things you get into. Even I saw, what was it, within the last month, you did a show at one of my favorite places to go when I'm in Chicago.
At North?
At North.
Yeah.
My buddy Jim Weber, who runs that place.
Jim Weber, who went to high school with me, it turns out.
Yeah. St. Louis Park guys.
Yes.
But that was that's not what you did there. Talk about that, please. That's not a normal show. Like, did you just do stand-up at that? Or what did you do?
No, we did a bunch of stuff. It was me and Trace Beaulieu and Frank Conniff from Mystery Science and Cinematic Titanic, and Dave Gruber-Allen, who is one of my very best friends in the world for 25 years, and you may know him from Freaks and Geeks as Mr. Rosso, the guidance counselor, or the Higgins Boys and Gruber, or Gilmore Girls, or tons of shit. And Gruber and I have been in a, he and I have been in a band together for 25 years with my wife, and called the Depreciators, and before that we played in a cover band with Paul Feig, and Gruber and I have been in. What happened is we went to Chicago to teach a master class at Second City.
Yeah.
At the Harold Ramis Film School. They invited Gruber and I to come basically speak for the day with a group of students, which was really fun. So I figured, since I'm in Chicago with Gruber, we should do a show.
Yeah.
Because Gruber and I have done so many shows of so many kinds over the years. And then I thought, well, hey, if we're doing a show, let's call Trace and Frank, have them come down and do a show with us. So it was riffing, it was stand-up, it was music, it was all...
You did some riffing?
We did, yeah. I did a little riffing at the end. We did an improv riff at the end.
Really?
It was short. And then Trace and Frank did like 3 shorts during the thing, and Frank did some stand-up, and I did a longer set. And Gruber and I did like 4 or 5 music things together, and so it was my kind of show. It was definitely my most fun kind of night.
You could bring that show to Minnesota for a night. I think that would
probably could. Yeah,
I think that would do really well. You should do it.
Okay.
I want to go.
You won't get a lot of resistance, you know.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it was really fun. So, but that, that to me, like I said, that's the perfect kind of night where we get to do a bunch of stuff. It's with my friends, and it's sort of showbiz adjacent. It's not, and that's my career is sort of showbiz adjacent. I don't. It's not shaped around ambition anymore.
What?
I mean, it's shaped around creative ambition, but it's not shaped around fame and fortune.
Okay.
Ambition anymore. It's not really part of my. I mean,
because
if either happened, great.
Sure.
But it's not. It does because it's not nourishing to me. That's not how I get fed anymore. So. How I get fed is by making stuff, and it's become really simple in my life where if I'm working on a project, I'm happy, and if I'm not, I'm not.
I heard you say on, now I just lost my train of thought here about, I got it. Yeah, I heard you say on Thought Spiral about, you guys were talking about McCartney and Lennon in the writing credits and something about McCartney worried about. Was it McCartney that was worried about the order of their names? Yeah,
he had requested to Yoko and the others that on the songs that were primarily his that they flip it to McCartney and Lennon. And I think she refused at first, and then eventually relented on one release. But he was so worried about. What he was worried about is his name getting cut off on internet searches. So just like Lennon and. ... or Lennon and Mac,
Yeah.
And it just depressed the hell out of me that Paul McCartney could be worried about his legacy,
right?
And it actually had an almost profound effect on me in that respect of just going, well, then this is all bullshit,
right?
If Paul McCartney can't feel secure, then who? And the then who of that rang very true to me. And it wasn't like a sad thing. It was just like, it was that in combination with just seeing how young people now do not give a shit about old stuff.
Yeah.
And I can understand it because there's so much new stuff constantly coming at them that just to stay up to date with that, you're not going to have a lot of chance to go take deep dives on old stuff.
That's true.
And so, when you get mad at kids for not knowing a Beatles song, you also go, well, it was 50 fucking years ago. Did I know songs from the 30s and the 80s? No, I really didn't that much.
Do you know any now?
Yeah, more than I did then, but but I just, and I started to feel in stand-up how references stopped working, a lot of them, and so it was just like, there's people like, what's MASH? What's, you could go through this litany of things that were huge and completely imprinted on us that, make no impression on it. Even I was talking to Segura last week about it, and he's like 5 years younger than me, or maybe a couple more, but like he has no familiarity with MASH. Like MASH is like
really?
is not part of his pantheon at all,
Huh.
And it's amazing how, just 5 years can make a difference. And I'm out of whack because I started when I was 15, and then all my friends suddenly became 30.
Right.
And so I was like, working double time to make sure that I knew these references, so I wouldn't get busted for being young, So I had the, and plus I watched TV every waking moment of my life from the moment I was born to whenever.
Yeah.
So I really did have a good base of this, and I was into it, and it was important to me as a kid.
Yeah.
I always felt this weird kinship with show business. But most people don't. And, now that I realize, it's just like, fame is like, just, it's nothing, it's
How about I don't even know what you would say about this, but just from where you're sitting in Hollywood, like your mystery science background, the freaks and geeks, like in some, like you've done appearances at Comic-Con, like to some people, you're a super big deal, right?
I guess so, yeah.
And then in others, like, I don't know, who is...
Yeah, and I think more the latter, way more the latter. The only time.
What is that like for you?
It's a weird thing. It's I'm not a nostalgic guy, really, so I don't like eat up Mystery Science Theater. Love that. It's like I really want to be there for the people who are excited. If someone is excited to meet me, I feel like I go into service mode almost. Like I really want to be good to anybody who is supportive or whose life is better because of something I made, or who's excited in any way to meet me. That's great for them. The last thing I would want to do is alienate them or sour their feeling, and not because I don't want them to like me, but because I just don't want to put a stain on something that's important to them.
Good, yeah, good.
But if I go to things where it's signing autographs for a line of people, it's like my ego doesn't eat that up.
Okay.
And especially with Mystery Science Theater things, because I always still have this sort of baseline knowledge that people are fans of the thing and much less of me, and part of that is just because the thing is way bigger than me, and part of it is that I left really early, and so most people's fandom started after I left, and so I was sort of a trivia fact that got added on later for people, I'm not one of the icons of the show to a lot of people.
Have you ever felt like I think I heard you talking about when you're going to do a podcast, for example, like with Andy, and the host knows him better than he knows you. Do you have a feeling like, why do I have to prove myself to?
Oh yeah, I do. That's where
to this guy. Why am I proving myself to this guy? Like that's
no, I don't have that. I don't have it like this guy.
Okay.
I have it more of like I can't. I get bummed that my peers don't know who I am.
Yeah.
Mark Maron didn't know who the fuck I was.
Oh, there was another
show.
example.
As he found out, he liked me, and I ended up, I remember him saying, yeah, he seems like a guy. He's not trying to impress me. He's not dying for my approval, So, and I went on Fitzsimmons last week, and he wanted Andy, and I came along with Andy, and I had to slowly sort of, as I'm talking, and I would, not that consciously, but I could see what was happening is like I would inject a credit, and he'd go, "Oh, really?"
Okay.
And so, that's where my ego gets like, "No, people should know who I am." Yeah, after 32 years.
Yeah, it's got to be a little frustrating.
But I don't blame them, and
right.
I do realize that part of that is my own sort of self seclusion. Like I'm not a guy who's been hanging out on the scene for all these years. I don't hang out at comedy clubs when I'm not working, and I don't, I haven't made an effort to be a part of the scene. So there's no real reason why they would know who I am. But yet my ego still goes, "Don't you know who I am?" And so, like, I did Gilbert's podcast, Gilbert Gottfried's last week, and Frank Santopadre did, like, all this research, and that was, and it was just, like, it was so nice to go on a show where they actually knew who I was.
How about Gilbert?
Gilbert did not know who I was, clearly.
Had you met him before?
I'd met him 30 years ago, but I didn't know him. But, in fact, I said, because he was reading he starts the show by reading this written out list of credits, and I'm sitting there, and I was in LA and they're in New York, so just hearing that Gilbert Gottfried sort of recite my career was very bizarre.
I bet.
And I said, and at the end, I was just like, and Gilbert, you forgot one thing. And I've never heard of him until today.
And that one's not available yet, right?
No, I think it's coming out another
it?
week or two. Yeah, I think he said like 3 weeks, and that was last week. So.
Okay, I have a personal story with Gilbert Gottfried. He came in when I had the radio job. He was doing a show in the Twin Cities. He came in to do morning radio, and at the time he was having terrible back pain.
Oh yeah,
and I had recently got my wisdom teeth pulled. Well, first I
little Vicodin exchange.
Yep, I gave him 2 of my Vicodin that I happen to have with. So I've given Gilbert Gottfried drugs in the past.
I've admitted to a federal crime on my podcast.
It wasn't me. They fell out of my pocket and he found them. I don't know how that happened. And then but even before that, when we first saw him, he was getting dropped off, and they called from out in the parking lot, and they said, "Could somebody come out here and help Gilbert?" I ended up literally, he's a tiny man.
Yeah.
I picked him up. And because he couldn't take how big is a curb? How high is a curb? 6 inches?
Yeah.
He couldn't take that step up to the curb.
Because of his back?
Because of his back.
Wow.
Yeah. And then once we got in the building, we grabbed a, just like a rolling chair, like an office chair, and used that as a makeshift wheelchair to take him around the building. Yes. So I've picked up Gilbert Gottfried.
Hopefully he had some sort of supplemental insurance that could help him with his...
And then, the other strange connection to that is then a former coworker of mine got that gig after Gilbert.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A sales manager at the time at the radio station.
Who did a decent Gilbert?
Picked up the gig. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to... So I have Google alerts set for everyone that's ever been on this podcast.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And there was one from Andy Kindler that came up like over a year ago, I think, that said he was going to be in a movie.
Yeah.
And then he came to town, and I asked him about it, and he was like, I don't know if that's... Yeah, they announced that. I don't even know if that's going to happen.
Right.
Now, the movie's been made. You got included.
Yes, indeed.
Let's talk about that.
Okay. It's called The Fiddling Horse, and the teaser trailer came out this week. And it stars Andy Kindler, Paula Lindbergh, and myself, along with other fine actors like Allie Mills from the mom from Wonder Years,
yes,
and David Hayden Jones, who's been on Supernatural a lot, and he played Aaron Rodgers' agent in those State Farm commercials. The
oh my goodness,
douchey agent.
Sure, well, I know who that is. Then
I have a fun scene with him where he's super douchey.
The press release that came out a year or so ago, whenever that was, it just had these very vague details about some movie that was going to be made, and it said Andy Kindler was cast as a character named Barry Bitterman.
Correct.
And I was like, that is what a perfect name for an Andy Kindler character. And that's all I knew.
Yes, and so he wrote the part for Andy, and that all came out, and around that time, the guy who directed C.J. Wallace, who directed and wrote the movie, is a fan of Slot Spiral. So I DM'd him and said, "Hey, give me a cameo and we'll do the show from the set." And he's like, "Yeah, of course, sure." And I was like, "Great!" I just asked for something and got it, And that was pretty much my dream, was to have a scene in a movie, because I'm not an actor, really. You know, it's I've been in stuff, but it's not something I pursue. And so then the movie got delayed, and it was in a big one of its delay periods when Andy was here, and that's probably why he was a little like, may happen, may not. So there's a couple of those where it was about to start shooting, and then they had to not. And we got towards the end of last year, and I was scheduled to have back surgery. And so I called the director and said, I know you're on this weird scheduling thing, so please, I got to have back surgery. If you need to go without me, please feel free. Don't worry, you won't hurt my feelings. And he said, well, actually, I just lost my lead actor, and I want you to play the part. I've been thinking for a while. I want you to play the part. I'm like, I don't think you do. And he said he did. I said, well, then it's your problem.
Are we telling people that lead was Bradley Cooper? I mean, is that public?
Yeah, no. But the weird thing is, it wasn't like an actor who looked like me, the person who was the lead. It was like just a straight regular actor.
Okay.
So I'm like, right off the bat,
Was it a comedian?
It's no,
Okay.
no. It was like a Steppenwolf real actor.
Okay.
And so it was like, it's not even a part where like, enter fat bald guy. It wasn't, it was just like a regular guy part, which to me was like weird. So I ended up with literally probably the most lines in the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
No shit.
And it is truly one of the leads of the movie. And it was really fun. I had a great time. And now, one of my very best friends in the world and I are in a movie together. So
amazing.
It's sort of the ultimate J. Elvis Weinstein career thing.
Yeah.
It's total dilettantism mixed with working with friends, and total left field origin, So that made me very happy. And, supposedly it's going to be coming out in September, and it'll do festivals over the summer, and yeah.
I'm
a goddamn movie star.
Yeah.
So,
do you? I mean, was there ever like a hey? Could you look up some acting? Look up a master class online, and then show up for the recording or the filming.
So say again.
Did the director was ever like, hey, why don't you polish up on some?
No, he didn't. No, he had total faith in me. All the doubt came from my end of the aisle. It was he had total confidence I could do it, to his credit, and I think he knew. Part of it is he knew that Andy and I had chemistry going in, which wasn't going to hurt the movie at all. You know, that was going to come through, and I think he probably knew that my Andy wrangling skills were probably stronger than anyone's in the world, besides perhaps his wife.
Good point. That's a very good point.
And so when he said I've been thinking about it for a few months, I didn't actually believe him, and still don't necessarily. But nonetheless, he still saw.
Doesn't matter.
I got to give him credit for taking the leap. Because it is a big leap. I certainly can't help sell the movie because of my name. I certainly don't have a track record that would say, this is the guy, so he obviously, he heard something on the podcast and seeing me that made him think, and from a very objective perspective, it was a good part for me. It wasn't something that I had to stretch to play.
Okay.
And he wrote really good dialogue so that it was easy to speak in my voice, and he was very respectful of me as a writer and director too. So if I had thoughts, he wanted them. And if I wanted to change the lines, he was great with that.
Okay.
So it was a fairly perfect experience in terms of just my vibe, which is, someone not only inviting me to their thing, but letting me sort of get up to my elbows in it with them,
The name is The Fiddling Horse.
Correct.
Now, I looked up the word fiddling definition. I wasn't 100% sure. So I'm gonna read some of these, and you tell me which one fits the definition they're using of fiddling in the title.
Okay.
All right. So there's some synonyms for fiddling: trivial, petty, insignificant, unimportant, paltry, minor, small, and then here's some vulgar slang they claim: chicken shit. Would chicken shit fit?
Probably.
A chicken shit horse? Would that
Probably,
fit?
Or insignificant horse, because it's about a cheating scandal, essentially.
Okay.
So, and it is a phrase from horse racing, but it's not actually a phrase that comes up in the movie. So
really?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the process to that title was, but I think if you're a horse racing insider, it makes sense.
Well, I see now. Like I said, that I do the.
It might have taken place in a scene I wasn't in, but I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They could have.
I read the script. I don't remember.
They may have just taken 20 minutes to explain it, but you didn't see that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I said that I do the Google alerts with everybody's name, and it came up. Your name came up within the last week. J. Elvis Weinstein, and one of the stories that your name was in was about the movie, and it was connected to a story. The main point was it was on a horse racing website because they were focusing on
the jockey.
The jockey that's in the movie.
I got that Google.
You got that one too.
Mitch. I can't remember his last name. Yeah,
you could say it.
But a well-known jockey apparently.
Okay,
and a great guy, really nice guy.
Yeah. Do you have any history of going to horse tracks besides filming movies at them?
I played rock and roll in a band at Santa Anita once.
Okay.
And I used to go to Canterbury Downs when I was a kid and lived here. And
when it was called Canterbury Downs.
When it was called Canterbury Downs. But yeah, and at Hollywood Park I went to a few times when I first moved to LA. But it's not it's certainly not a pastime or passion for me.
Sure. I want to talk a little bit more about we have to. You just did 100 episodes of your podcast, 101, one that hasn't been heard. I heard, and I listened to 3/4, I would say, of episode 100. I didn't get to the very end.
Yeah.
So I thought it was awesome that you put in the highlight reel.
Oh, thank you.
That was very cool. I kind of wish it would have been longer. Actually.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, as a podcast host, it makes me think like, fuck, I should be freaking doing. I need to be spending more time. Yeah,
I made I did it a couple of Christmases ago. I did a best of show, and it took forever. But this time I had our producer, Alex Brazel, go, "Hey, Alex, I'd like to hear what your favorite moments are." So,
yeah,
and mostly it's us making lots of noises, but
so what? It's great. It's absolutely great. I want to talk
minutes of Dennis Miller impressions. Chant, chant. Miller on the sixes.
I would say, in all honesty, so I probably listened to 3/4 of episode 100. I've probably listened to 3/4 of the episodes of Thoughts.
That's amazing.
I'm not gonna lie and say I've heard all of them.
No,
it's really hard to keep up.
Do you really think that would make you look good, even?
You don't know how much free time I have, Josh. I do have another job where it allows me to listen to a lot of podcasts. So I probably listen to more than the average person.
Right.
I'm able to.
But it is, I assume, your Jewiest 2 hours of the week.
Without question.
Yeah.
Without question. It's funny that you say that. I have a Jewy question for you.
Okay.
Well, maybe not. So one of my daughters is in 5th grade, and by the end of this school year, she will have to do a report on a famous person. Famous person report.
Wow.
She has chosen Anne Frank.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. So
just because the life is so short, it's an easier gig?
No, I think it's because she's already been taught about Anne Frank and doesn't have to do more work.
Okay.
That's what I think.
I respect that.
Yeah, right?
Sure.
So part of the presentation, you have to write you have to write a report. But then the last thing they do is they're going to do, what do they call it? Not mannequins, maybe it is. They're inviting parents in to come to the school, and the kids get to dress up as the famous person they did the report on.
Wow, okay.
How or should my non-Jewish daughter dress up as Anne Frank?
I think look at the pictures that exist and pick one of those outfits.
Yeah.
Don't go with the star. Don't put the yellow star on.
Don't go with the star?
No. Because she wasn't wearing one, because she was hidden.
It's interesting you say that, because I looked at this. I Googled Anne Frank costume.
Yeah, and it had a star.
And there's like at least one picture that pops up all over the place. It's a little girl with a homemade star on her little Anne Frank outfit.
I think that's pushing the limits a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe some very light makeup to show how pale she would have been from being in an attic for 2 years.
Okay.
But I would just look at there are pictures of Anne Frank.
Yeah.
So look at those, I would say.
Yeah.
If there's one with a star, which I doubt, then you can go with it. But otherwise, you don't have my permission.
Okay. Maybe whatever she decides to do, she ought to bring a picture that she based it on to show.
Probably so.
In case anybody has an issue with it, huh?
Yeah, probably. Does she have what color hair does she have?
My daughter?
Yeah.
Blonde?
Yeah, maybe a wig. Yeah. Maybe a dark wig.
Right.
Because if she was blonde, they wouldn't have had to hide her.
good point. Good point. Very good point. Very good point. I know she's had to explain that to parents all that morning. It's cool.
Yeah, she looked like Swiss Miss otherwise.
Yeah. Heidi? Is that the character's name? Heidi?
Maybe a big book. She could carry a big book that just says diary on that side, too.
Yeah. That's good, actually.
Yeah, it's a nice prop.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. When I was on the swim team in high school, we did a thing at the end of the year. For several years, we did a lip sync contest at the end of the school year. The other day, my dad was like, "Hey, remember when you did the lip sync contest and you did the Weird Al song, but it's Michael Jackson? And how did you?" He's like, "You painted your face for that. Are there pictures of that?" Dad, you have that so wrong. I hope you've never told anyone that, because not only do you have the wrong song, but I never, ever, ever did what you are insinuating that I did. The song was it was a Weird Al song, but it was the All Ricky, based on like
Mickey.
Mickey, but it was All Ricky.
Tony Basil.
Yeah, based on Ricky Ricardo and Lucille Ball.
Sure.
That was it. So what I did is, when I did that song, I stole an idea from that old TV show, Putting on the Hits.
Sure.
Putting on the hits. They sing the song along. Dun, 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 dun. So I did a thing where I tried to portray both people, Ricky and Lucy. So I got like my mom's lipstick, and I put lipstick on one side of my lips, like one side, and then got a clip-on earring from a neighbor and used that on that same side. That's what my dad confused into I did blackface.
Right.
Whoa.
Who was the politician who just got?
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but
I can't remember.
That's what was in my dad's mind. Like, oh yeah, my son did something like that. You're like, no, he didn't.
Right?
No. Maybe half sort of cross dress, but not.
I actually remember the person who did that on Putting on the Hits as well. So.
Oh, do you remember? It was a Diana Ross. The one I tried to. It was a guy did a Diana Ross Lionel Richie song, and it was like long hair on one side,
and then he'd flip around. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember.
Do you remember the host of Putting on the Hits?
Alan Fawcett? Yes, I do.
Nice. Where is he now?
He's hosting a local karaoke show, probably at a bar.
Yeah, I was going to say at a bar that he's live streaming somewhere. Yeah. Are you pumped for Game of Thrones coming back?
No, I'm not.
No?
I don't care.
Never watch it?
No.
No.
Don't care. Don't have a fantasy Jones like that.
Yeah.
Don't have a Knights and Dragons kind of fetish.
What if that's my only dragons fetish and it doesn't go beyond that?
Well, then that's good. You know, it's easier to find people online.
I
hear it's a good show, and I don't poo-poo it as a quality show. I think enough people think it's great that it probably is, but it takes so much for me to commit to a TV show these days.
Sure. No, I understand that. I want to ask you another thing, because I did write a note here about that, and you mentioned it very briefly, that when you were in Chicago, you did a master class. They were calling it a master class.
Their name, Gruber. Not mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I want to know, what was the setting? Where?
It was at Second City, their training center. Part of it is what's called the Harold Ramis Film School, which is they say the only completely comedy focused film program, and it's run by Second City, and I know a teacher there. And the teacher is an old friend of Gruber, so he's a friend of Gruber's, fan of mine, and so invited us to come do this masterclass.
What did you prepare for that?
I didn't prepare a ton because they told me don't prepare.
Just sit there and answer questions.
A lot of questions. We did. It was like a 3-stage thing. In the morning, we did a sort of Q&A. Some background and biography. And then really just getting into the different gigs and what's entailed in different writing jobs and what different writing rooms are like,
okay.
general questions about comedy writing and making stuff. And then we did a session where they had written sketches, and we selected a half dozen sketches to table read and get on their feet, and then we picked another 3 of those to actually stage and get on their feet with actors going. And Gruber and I gave notes to the writers of the sketches.
So it was an all day thing.
It was an all day thing, and we talked just how this could work better. Here's what I'm seeing. I think this part, the woman needs a much stronger part here, and things like that. This joke would build better if you did it in this order, and then we did a sort of screening session. Like, I showed a short film I directed and really took them through the steps that I had done to make that short film.
What was that?
It's called The Mediocre Samaritan. It's on YouTube. It's like 13 minutes. Stars Dave Higgins, who is one of the Higgins boys in Gruber, and he was like on Ellen as the coffee guy, and he was on Malcolm in the Middle as the fat boss neighbor guy, Craig. And then Joe Keys, who's a Minneapolis comic originally, is in it, and Victoria Kelleher, who's an actress from Minnesota, who's married to Paul Kelleher, who was a Minneapolis comic, and a guy named Mark Feit, who's a...
How old is this thing?
I think I made it in 2007. What had happened was I had sold a screenplay, and I was sort of angling to direct the movie, but I hadn't actually directed a movie, so I put this short together and did it.
Have you ever looked into how much like the master classes, like that Steve Martin does and stuff? Have you ever looked? I looked up the prices of those.
Now they have like an all-you-can-eat price.
Yes.
Which isn't a bad deal.
Oh.
I bought it over a couple months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just stoned impulse buy.
No shit.
So I've been watching some of them. Yeah.
Like what?
I watched some of Steve Martin's thing. There's valuable stuff in there, and I watched some of. I don't know. I've been sampling. I've been doing a lot of sampling.
Okay.
I watched some Sorkin. I watched some.
Because I looked and I saw. Like your buddy Judd Apatow does one.
Judd does one, yeah.
A comedy.
Yeah. I liked Steve Martin's comedy one better than Judd's, I think. But part of that is just because I've worked with Judd, so I know where he's headed more.
Okay.
I watched Helen Mirren's acting one, actually, before I went and acted.
You did?
Yeah. Just to see if there's any kind of just pure screen acting tips that I could pick up on. I think I watched some of Samuel Jackson's as well.
I noticed that one. He has. My initial reaction to that is he has such a unique. No one else is like Samuel L. Jackson. How does he teach people to act when he's the only one that does what he does? Yeah, well, there are still film acting tricks of the trade. I suppose,
and film acting is a different beast than stage acting, for example. It's just it's a real different gig.
Can I? One of the names I saw on the Masterclass website made me chuckle like a kid. Wine Appreciation with James Suckling.
Oh, yeah.
Is it wrong for me to
I
think
saw
that's
that.
hilarious?
I haven't looked. Although the original part I was going to play in the movie was a sommelier guy. And so that when I was playing that part, the director said, hey, watch the movie Somm so you can pick up some of their obnoxious little quirks.
No kidding.
And affectations. And then I ended up playing a whole different part.
Okay.
But yeah, for my part, he didn't have any things to watch. He didn't have any reference points.
Okay. For people that haven't looked, those those Masterclass things, it's like $180 for all access.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. That's what you.
Like I said, I was stoned. It was an impulse buy.
Do you ever go on Kickstarter and just look around at stuff? Like I do?
I don't anymore, but I have. And then I got enough crappy products that I kind of like...
Seriously?
Yeah. There was like
what?
Like the Cento towel I thought was horrible.
What is that?
It was some, miracle towel that, that...
Is never wet or something?
No, it's supposed to be super absorbent, but I found it to be quite the opposite. I found it to just sort of move the sort of wipe the water around on you and give you a
More like a
weird,
squeegee.
clammy feeling. Then there was I bought some knives that I wasn't pleased with, really. A chef knife that was not
Interesting.
not as awesome as promised.
Okay. My wife just gave me an update last night on one she put money into.
Hold on one sec. I just got to. Sorry.
Oh, we got an important one here.
We got Joel Madison wondering what the hotel is.
Oh, okay. Well, I will keep talking here and say that A, B, C. No, my wife did one where I was sitting in bed looking through Kickstarter, and I was like, oh, hey, look, check this one out. And then she went ahead and bought it. And she hasn't received it yet. This is like 4 months ago. It was a product for brushing your teeth, not a toothbrush, but something for cleaning your teeth that is going to take, they claim, 7 seconds instead of what, like the automatic ones, what they say,
Right.
2 minutes, 30 seconds to every quadrant or whatever.
Right.
This one says 7 seconds and you have a clean teeth.
Wow.
Yeah. It looks like
It scares the plaque off your teeth.
right? Yeah, I don't know what the hell it does. But she just got an update last night that they're still months and months away from getting this thing.
Yeah.
Did you ever have that problem, or it just took forever, or just the crappy ones showed up?
No, they took a long time. I think that knife took a long time.
What was special about the knife, or was supposed to be?
Just the blade was super sharp and blah 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 blah, and they had the process that made it blah 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 blah
Sure.
blah. I don't remember,
Yeah.
but
I worked at in a kitchen once years ago, and it was when the infomercials were out for the Ginsu.
yeah,
And there was a guy that worked in the kitchen with us. He was like got picked on all the time. He went to the home show and came back to this restaurant with the Ginsu knife and showed it to the head chef. And the guy's like, oh yeah, let me see that. Takes it over to one of the pipes by the sink and
Yeah.
just starts fucking wailing on the pipe. Gave him back his knife and goes, there you go. And it was just fucking mangled.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's like, yo, it's indestructible. He said it's indestructible. And he took it and just fucking ruined it. It's like, oh, that was mean.
well, you don't take a Ginsu to a chef.
No,
though.
right.
Come on.
You should have known better.
Yes.
You should have absolutely known better. Let's see here. We've done so many things in the last year. We've are there anything we should be mentioning? You did a little thing for Louis Lee. Is that ever going to be?
No,
that's just for
that
him?
was for private use.
That was
yes.
just for him.
Yes.
Okay. The Michael Debar.
Michael Day
Doc?
Bardock is very close to done. I've cleared all the music now. I've paid for 95% of the photos. I'm looking for a couple more photographers.
Okay.
I've got very little work left on it, and it will be out this year for sure.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. So this year it'll be a doc that I directed, a movie I co-starred in, and a stand-up album will be my product for the year.
That's plenty.
I hope so.
That is absolutely plenty.
I will make $17 combined from those three projects.
What is the thing people ask? Are you getting points? Do you get points? You're getting points, right? When that thing goes huge, you're going to get points.
Yeah.
So yeah, people should come out to your shows here while don't be afraid of the frickin' if it snows another frickin' half an inch here in the next 24 hours, the roads are fine. Don't be a bitch about it. Get out here to Acme and see a good show.
Don't be a bitch. What he said.
Yeah. I came last night and it was fine. I drove here this afternoon. Fine.
It'll be fine, people.
Come out
out
and
and
see some
support
comedy.
me, for God's sakes. I've been on the show how many times?
If not now, when?
That's right.
Exactly. Once again, congrats on 100 episodes.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure you'll do 100 more as long as Andy's willing.
I think he's willing.
Yeah.
I think I'll want to stop before he does.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah, is there anything else we should be mentioning? Your podcast is available everywhere.
Thought Spiral available where podcasts are sold.
That's right. Merch. You have podcast merch somewhere.
Yeah, Zazzle.com.
Yeah.
/thought_spiral. We got the 2 Jews, 2 Mics, 2 Hours shirt. We got the First Thought Theater logo. We've got a lot of shirts there for you, people. And yeah, no, I'm just, I'm always happy to be here at Acme, and I'm excited for the album to be an Acme set.
One final question.
Okay.
I heard you do not have an album title picked out, correct?
I do not yet,
or just
no.
not nothing you've gone public with? Nothing?
Nothing.
Have you considered stealing Andy's idea because his album has been sitting in somewhere for years and it may never be released?
I did threaten him.
You did threaten him?
with using his name before he got it out. Just
Okay.
as
I think you should follow through.
his is, I think, called "Hence the Humor."
Yes.
And I think he recorded it in 2013.
That's 6 years.
I really thought that me doing an album might light the candle.
Right?
But
Still no.
It doesn't seem to be lighting the candle so much.
Yeah, he's got other things to worry about. We know that.
It's lighted the candle of me mocking him now. But
Well, and that's entertaining for all of us.
Sure.
It's working out. Thank you, Josh.
thanks, man. It was always fun.